Hello there, people. This is Christian. In front of you, we have Fusion 360 and a Snub Dodecahedron, one of our Archimedean solids. I made this one because I got the question if I could make the Snub Dodecahedron in Fusion 360. And this is a workflow that is a work in progress, very much. The timelines are quite long here. I have not really cleaned up the sketches. But I thought this might be interesting for people to see, like my first workflow when I work for something. I might make a better one and clean up this one. I'm using quite a lot of solid tools, might be easier surfaces. So take this for what it is and enjoy the ride and see where we end up. Let's look at the Wikipedia page. Snub Dodecahedron or Snub Icosi Dodecahedron. Archimedean solid. It's Archimedean solid, so we know that all the edges have the same length, so some other rules apply. All the vertices are touching a sphere. All the faces are also touching the type of sphere and stuff like that. So we can use that a lot. And let's scroll down a bit. We have a vertex figure. This is what I used. This I used to get the basic geometry of this. So what you will see now is the first workflow I found to make this without using any math, more than geometry. That's a part of math, but no mathematical equations. We're simply using geometry. So let's go over to Fusion. You can see our color things here. We have pentagon faces, green ones. We have triangular faces. They're all the same size, but they are slightly different. You have these triangular faces that are connected directly to the dodecahedron along an edge, and then we have these triangles that are connected to corners of the pentagon. And we can also see one more thing here. If I'm not totally wrong, it's the 7 Wikipedia page. This should be able to make in a left and right way configuration, because it depends on where we place it. It might be just a mirror of it, but we need to pay attention a bit when we do the model, because this is a bit of a odd triangle in compared to this one. Anyway, enough of rambling for me. Let's have a look at a bit of a strange workflow. So as I said, let's go back Wikipedia page. I'm using the vertex figure here as my reference. You can see the pentagon. You can see the triangles here. It's like looking down at a flat plane, and we have some things that are similar here, or equal in length, and that can help us to drive a sketch. We're going to start with a sketch. Start from the top, looking from the top. So the workflow here is lacking a lot of things that I like to have in a workflow, but it works. It creates a stable model, and it's parametric. At least we can change the dimension. We're going to start with the polygon. Of course, we start with the pentagon. So sorry, wrong. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes in this because it's the first workflow. Now tab over 5 sides like that. I'm going to coincident this corner to here and tell Fusion this is going to be horizontal. So it locks down things. We can have it. Let's make a construction geometry. How do we get the profile out of the way? The dimension, the only way I can dimension so far is edge dimension. So we're going to dimension this edge here. Let's do it 35 millimeters. We have go back to Wikipedia page. You can see I have now made the pentagon up here. I should image down here to the right. And now I will do the triangular faces. We're going to do some lines. They start here. They go. I want to do. Hold on, shift. I'm holding down. I want to avoid. That's control to hold down to avoid constraints like this. But that constraint I want. So holding down control turns off the auto constraining. Let's see these lines. This one holding down control, selecting the lines. All these lines are edges, and this is my edge. So all of these should be equal. I will do some lines, L and construction. I will now construct the triangular faces. They will now not be equilateral triangle. They will be a little later, but I know one thing. All these lines here that are connecting, I'm now selecting from right to left like this. Means I select all these lines. They are equal. So I do that. Let's open up our sketch browser. If I do that, I get a fully constrained sketch. they are now fully defined triangles. The length of them is the same as the edge, and they are constrained because I was looking for this point here. I'm going to finish sketch. I've used the dimension here. I'm going to need that in the next sketch. I'm going to right click and tell Fusion to show dimensions. Create a sketch on the plane that's from the right. And I hit P to project in some geometry. I want this point here. And I want, not the origin point, this point here where all the triangles were meeting. This is going to be, I want a new vertex up here. Hit OK. I'm going to do some lines. I'm going to simply do a line from here, horizontally or vertically up and over to here. D for, finish the line command, D for dimension, and I'm going to dimension it. So this line is a new edge, and it's going to have the same length as the edge I made earlier. So I simply pick up the dimension over here by clicking on it, and it picks up the dimension. That's why I turned on show dimensions. Hit enter. And now I have most of the geometry I want. Going to finish sketch. I could do this the same sketch, but I like to keep my 3D sketching separate from other stuff. So we can do some 3D sketching. We're going to select any plane basically. I'm going to turn on 3D sketching. Hit L for line. You get this strange orientation. I'm going to start with the line. So the good thing with 3D sketching, I can start picking up points. So I'm going to now do from here and up, and you will see a slight blue color. We have now created a profile, and we'll keep on doing triangular faces. And as you can see, I skip one triangular faces. I'm going to turn off 3D sketching and finish sketch. I skip one triangle because if you think, if I pattern this around, these triangles will be the same. If we're doing a pattern around, that was our triangle faces. So let's have a look. So we are doing 3 triangular faces here. Now I need the pentagon face. And I need a plane to do that on. So construct a construction plane through 3 points. Let's do that. 1 point, the top here and here. Hit OK. Create a sketch. Open up in your browser. Sometimes it's easier to select construction planes from the browser over here. So I'm going to select here. I will hit P for project. And that happen to be origin point. But anyway, project in this point. And a project in the top point up here. Hit OK. And create polygon. We need the pentagon face, so let's use a polygon somewhere out here. Tab over 5 for pentagon. Coincident, any corner to up here and here to here. And we have a fully defined sketch. And if I hide our first sketch, I think you can slightly see the shape coming to life. Finish sketch. So the thing is, now I have the faces of the Snub dodecahedron, but I do not have the center points that I need, or I don't have any access to start working with things. So let's find where the center of this Snub dodecahedron is. And this is an Archimedean solid, so we know a couple of things. I'm gonna hide the first sketch, hide that one. I don't need one. I only need these two. Might be a bit confusing for people, so let's have it anyway. Sorry if I'm rambling. This is a pentagon face. The center of all Archimedean solids will be, if you take a line from the center point of a pentagon here and make a line that's or axis that's perpendicular to the face, that will be pointing towards the center point of the body. The same for an edge. I'm going to turn on this again. This is an edge here. If I do a line from the center point of this edge and do it perpendicular straight in, it will point towards the center point. So I will do some projections. I will create a sketch now. Looking from right, I had to hit P of a keyboard. That automatically asks me to select a plane like this, and I will project in this line here and the point here of a pentagon. Gonna do some lines. I'm gonna start up here to here. Gonna go inwards here and up to the midpoint here. And now some constraints. As I said, perpendicular. So I'm gonna make this line here perpendicular. So this is the center axis of this edge, and the same here. The line here is the center axis of this pentagon face. So let's make those perpendicular. We have fully constrained sketches. Finish sketch. Now let's see, we can turn off that sketch. And we're gonna need that sketch. So I turn on the 3 last sketches. These are my faces or the profiles. And this down here gives me the center point of the body. So I can use the menu for the fun of it today. Loft. Start with the pentagon. Straight down to this point. Hit OK. Repeat command. I'm just holding down the right mouse button, pulling straight up. You can repeat the command. This here. Down to here. And we get the operation to join. Thank you. Repeat command. This here. Down to here. Repeat the loft. From here down to here. And okay, let's open up our bodies browser. We only have one body. That's good. Let's do S on the keyboard and find circular pattern. Circular pattern. We can do this on features. And that's going to be the 3 last lofts we did. We don't need to repeat the pentagon. Axis going to be the center line we created earlier. That is the center axis of a pentagon face. And of course, the pentagon has 5 sides, so we change the quantity to 5. Made it okay. And because we did a circular pattern of feature which adjusts, it repeats that and joins everything together. Nicely. Thank you, Fusion. Now comes the interesting part. We need to select right face or left face. Let's see here. We are here. We have a pentagon here. I can now use this face here or this face here as reference. I'm going to use this here. So I'm going to create a sketch on this face. I need to project in the center point, which I already have. You can see it faintly in the background. So I'm going to hit P on the keyboard and project in this point. Hit OK. Finish the sketch. Go in construction. I want to do axis perpendicular to face. Select the face, select the point, and we have an axis. S of the keyboard, circular pattern. In this case, we're going to do it on bodies. This body, around this axis here, and of course not 5 times. A triangle has 3 sides. We're going to do it 3 times. So we have that one. I'm now going to keep on moving down. This already started. I'm going to move down until I get down to this body here. Have a look here. Remember, I picked on the right side, so I do the same thing here. I'm going to create a sketch again. Create a sketch. Faces next to one of the points here, and on the right side, I will hit P for project once again. This center point here. Hit OK. Finish sketch. Construct axis perpendicular to face, this point. Thank you. I'm going to hide the first axis. That's a very short axis. Can I pull that out? I'm going to hide the bodies and take this axis. You can always drag, the same with construction planes, you can extend the axis to your need. Like that. S, circular pattern. And we're going to do this on bodies. And that's these 2 bodies. Do I want to do this too? Yeah, let's do all of them. Around this axis here. 3 times again. Yes, please. You see we're starting to get together. Now we get to get them around. We can simply do like this. Let's select all of them. Combine them together. Makes it a bit easier. S, circular patterns. Once again, off body. This body. Now I'm selecting the first we started with here. The line to here inside the pentagon face. Do that 5 times. So I'm a bit overdoing things. Let's select all the bodies and combine. And we should end up, let's hide some axes and hide all our sketches. We should have a Snub dodecahedron with all the nice faces. I mean, you can do some inspection checking. I like to select like 2 different pentagon faces, step 1, and look at the area. 2107, some change, 2107, and some change. Yes, they have the same area. We can do 2 different edges like this. They should both be 35, 35. We can do some other edges. Oops, sorry. Select an edge. Select this one here and one down here. 35, 35. Good. We can turn on our first sketch that contained the dimension for the edge. Pull it aside. Let's see if this works. I hope it doesn't fail. 100. And the model updates. So we have a solid, good model to work with, but we can change the dimension to, sorry, over here, dimension 50. Or we can play around and we end up with one single body. If our orientation a bit strange, you can use align or joints if you want to move this now and get in a more useful way. So this is how a first workflow can look for me when I'm deciphering geometry like this. There are most probably steps that can be worked out much better than this. I just wanted to show you that this can be done, and this is normally where I start with something. Something I ended up doing is with solids. I tried to do with surface first, but I get some errors and it gets a bit hard to do things, so I switch over to do solid lofts instead. So, and we can create, let's see, we can create a sketch on basically any face. That's a good way to check if things are correct. Right click, create sketch, we can create a sketch. If you can't create a sketch, you do not have a flat face, and all faces should be flat. So, that was a bit of a workflow to create a snub dodecahedron. And that's it. Take care, see you around, and goodbye, people.